Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman menyelenggarakan pengembangan kompetensi yang berperan penting dalam mengembangkan sumber daya manusia yang memiliki tujuan untuk mencapai penguasaan keahlian dan kompetensi, serta meningkatkan wawasan dan pengetahuan seputar bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman. Secara umum, pendidikan dan pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman bertujuan untuk meningkatkan kecakapan dan keterampilan, terutama dalam bidang-bidang yang berhubungan dengan bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman, yang diperlukan dalam pencapaian tujuan instansi, serta memberikan individu kemampuan yang lebih tinggi dalam melaksanakan tugas maupun pekerjaannya, sehingga hasil yang dicapai akan maksimal. Selain itu, pelatihan yang diberikan diharapkan dapat meningkatkan profesionalisme dan mengorientasikan hasil kerja individu terhadap kemajuan instansi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman secara inovatif menggunakan teknologi dan metode pembelajaran yang terus dikembangkan, agar proses pembelajaran peserta pelatihan dapat terlaksana secara aktif dan mampu mengembangkan potensi dirinya serta keterampilan yang diperlukan dalam dirinya melalui inovasi metode pengajaran yaitu klasikal, distance learning, serta blended learning. Saat ini, Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Bidang Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman membawahi satu bidang dan satu subbagian antara lain bidang manajemen sistem dan pelaksanaan pengembangan kompetensi dan subbagian tata usaha. Dalam menjalankan tugas dan fungsi Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman juga dibantu oleh jafung-jafung terkait baik sebagai koordinator, subkoordinator maupun pelaksana. Pelatihan yang dilaksanakan tersebar di balai-balai yang berada dalam wilayah kerja Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman. Program pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman pada tahun 2021 antara lain target pelatihan Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman tahun 2022 yang tersebar di balai-balai pengembangan kompetensi dan perguruan tinggi yang telah menjalin kerjasama pendidikan dan kedinasan. Dalam menyelenggarakan kerjasama pendidikan kedinasan di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman, saat ini kami menjalin kerjasama pendidikan super spesialis dengan beberapa perguruan tinggi terkemuka di Indonesia. Di antaranya, serta produk yang dihasilkan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman adalah modul-modul yang sebelumnya telah disusun, direview, dan melalui tahap pemutakhiran bersama Widya Iswara yang ahli dalam bidangnya, yang kemudian selanjutnya akan dijadikan bahan ajar dalam setiap pelatihan bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang telah memenuhi standar guna mendukung segala kegiatan aparatur sipil negara yang diharapkan dapat menunjang pelaksanaan tugas dan fungsi agar dapat menciptakan individu yang berkompeten, produktif, dan profesional. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki visi dan misi serta penerapan nilai-nilai luhur untuk menciptakan aparatur sipil negara yang berkualitas dan profesional, serta mampu bersaing sejalan dengan perubahan teknologi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman merupakan salah satu unit kerja di bawah naungan Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia, Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, yang terletak di Jalan Abdul Hamid Cicahem, Kota Bandung, Jawa Barat. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki tugas melaksanakan penyusunan kebijakan teknis dan pelaksanaan pengembangan serta sertifikasi kompetensi di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman menyelenggarakan pengembangan kompetensi yang berperan penting dalam mengembangkan sumber daya manusia yang memiliki tujuan untuk mencapai penguasaan keahlian dan kompetensi, serta meningkatkan wawasan dan pengetahuan seputar bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman. Secara umum, pendidikan dan pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman bertujuan untuk meningkatkan kecakapan dan keterampilan, terutama dalam bidang-bidang yang berhubungan dengan bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman, yang diperlukan dalam pencapaian tujuan instansi, serta memberikan individu kemampuan yang lebih tinggi dalam melaksanakan tugas maupun pekerjaannya, sehingga hasil yang dicapai akan maksimal. Selain itu, pelatihan yang diberikan diharapkan dapat meningkatkan profesionalisme dan mengorientasikan hasil kerja individu terhadap kemajuan instansi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman secara inovatif menggunakan teknologi dan metode pembelajaran yang terus dikembangkan agar proses pembelajaran peserta pelatihan dapat terlaksana secara aktif dan mampu mengembangkan potensi dirinya serta keterampilan yang diperlukan dalam dirinya melalui inovasi metode pengajaran yaitu klasikal, distance learning, serta blended learning. Saat ini, Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Bidang Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman membawahi satu bidang dan satu subbagian antara lain bidang manajemen sistem dan pelaksanaan pengembangan kompetensi dan subbagian tata usaha. Dalam menjalankan tugas dan fungsi Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman juga dibantu oleh jafung-jafung terkait baik sebagai koordinator, subkoordinator, maupun pelaksana. Pelatihan yang dilaksanakan tersebar di balai-balai yang berada dalam wilayah kerja Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman. Program pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman pada tahun 2021 antara lain target pelatihan Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman tahun 2022 yang tersebar di balai-balai pengembangan kompetensi dan perguruan tinggi yang telah menjalin kerjasama pendidikan dan kedinasan. Dalam menyelenggarakan kerjasama pendidikan kedinasan di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman, saat ini kami menjalin kerjasama pendidikan super spesialis dengan beberapa perguruan tinggi terkemuka di Indonesia. Di antaranya, serta produk yang dihasilkan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman adalah modul-modul yang sebelumnya telah disusun, direview, dan melalui tahap pemutakhiran bersama Widya Iswara yang ahli dalam bidangnya, yang kemudian selanjutnya akan dijadikan bahan ajar dalam setiap pelatihan bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang telah memenuhi standar guna mendukung segala kegiatan aparatur sipil negara yang diharapkan dapat menunjang pelaksanaan tugas dan fungsi agar dapat menciptakan individu yang berkompeten, produktif, dan profesional.
Assalamualaikum Bu Fitri.
Halo, Assalamualaikum.
Bu, suara Bapak terdengar jelas, Bu?
Masih kurang jelas suaranya, Mas Denny?
Masih kurang jelas.
Kalau suara Bapak sih tadi sudah cukup jelas sih, Pak.
Cukup jelas, Bu. Sekarang cukup jelas.
Halo,
Iya, Bu.
gimana Mas?
Sekarang cukup jelas nggak suaranya, Bu?
Jelas, jelas.
Jelas ya, Bu ya? Aman ya, Bu ya?
Ya, siap. Mohon izin bisa dimulai sekarang. Pak Kaba, mohon izin, Pak.
Sebentar, Bu. Bapak sholat dulu.
Siap, siap.
Tapi jelas ya, Bu ya? Aman suara Bapak ya, Bu ya?
Sudah jelas sih.
Baik, Bu. Siap. Makasih, Bu.
Ya, makasih sama-sama.
Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki visi dan misi serta penerapan nilai-nilai luhur untuk menciptakan aparatur sipil negara yang berkualitas dan profesional, serta mampu bersaing sejalan dengan perubahan teknologi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman merupakan salah satu unit kerja di bawah naungan Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia, Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, yang terletak di Jalan Abdul Hamid Cicahem, Kota Bandung, Jawa Barat. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki tugas melaksanakan penyusunan kebijakan teknis dan pelaksanaan pengembangan serta sertifikasi kompetensi di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman menyelenggarakan pengembangan kompetensi yang berperan penting dalam mengembangkan sumber daya manusia yang memiliki tujuan untuk mencapai penguasaan keahlian dan kompetensi. Meningkatkan wawasan dan pengetahuan seputar bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman. Secara umum, pendidikan dan pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman bertujuan untuk meningkatkan kecakapan dan keterampilan, terutama dalam bidang-bidang yang berhubungan dengan bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman, yang diperlukan dalam pencapaian tujuan instansi, serta memberikan individu kemampuan yang lebih tinggi dalam melaksanakan tugas maupun pekerjaannya, sehingga hasil yang dicapai akan maksimal. Selain itu, pelatihan yang diberikan diharapkan dapat meningkatkan profesionalisme dan mengorientasikan hasil kerja individu terhadap kemajuan instansi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman secara inovatif menggunakan teknologi dan metode pembelajaran yang terus dikembangkan agar Proses pembelajaran peserta pelatihan dapat terlaksana secara aktif dan mampu mengembangkan potensi dirinya serta keterampilan yang diperlukan dalam dirinya melalui inovasi metode pengajaran yaitu klasikal, distance learning, serta blended learning. Saat ini, Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Bidang Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman membawahi satu bidang dan satu subbagian antara lain bidang manajemen sistem dan pelaksanaan pengembangan kompetensi dan subbagian tata usaha. Dalam menjalankan tugas dan fungsi Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman juga dibantu oleh jafung-jafung terkait baik sebagai koordinator, subkoordinator maupun pelaksana. Pelatihan yang dilaksanakan tersebar di balai-balai yang berada dalam wilayah kerja Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman. Program pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman pada tahun 2021 antara lain target pelatihan Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman tahun 2022 yang tersebar di balai-balai pengembangan kompetensi dan perguruan tinggi yang telah menjalin kerjasama pendidikan dan kedinasan. Dalam menyelenggarakan kerjasama pendidikan kedinasan di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman, saat ini kami menjalin kerjasama pendidikan super spesialis dengan beberapa perguruan tinggi terkemuka di Indonesia. Di antaranya, serta produk yang dihasilkan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman adalah modul-modul yang sebelumnya telah disusun, direview, dan melalui tahap pemutakhiran bersama Widya Iswara yang ahli dalam bidangnya, yang kemudian selanjutnya akan dijadikan bahan ajar dalam setiap pelatihan bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang telah memenuhi standar guna mendukung segala kegiatan aparatur sipil negara yang diharapkan dapat menunjang pelaksanaan tugas dan fungsi agar dapat menciptakan individu yang berkompeten, produktif, dan profesional.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam sejahtera, shalom, om swastiastu, namo buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to welcome all of you in today's event, Utilization of Water Resources Information System in Integrated Flood Control webinar. My name is Rena Sempana Wahyu Putri, serving as your Master of Ceremony for today's event. On behalf of the committee, we would like to extend our warmest welcome to our honorable guest, His Excellency, Head of Human Resources Development Agency, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Dr. Kalawi Abdul Hamid. His Excellency, Head of Center for Water Resources and Settlements Competency Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Head of Division of System Management and Competency Development, Dr. Fitri Riandini. His Excellency, Director for Water Resources Engineering Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Dr. Muhammad Rizal. His Excellency, Director for Operation and Maintenance, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Sub-Coordinator of Technical Planning and Institutional Affairs, Mr. Heru Ramanda. His Excellency, Head of River Basin Organization for Ciliwung Cisadane, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Commitment Making Officer of Water Resources Management, Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya.
Itu tambang yang katanya gitu kan?
Ya,
Itu tambang, kalau enggak bikin jalan sendiri, kalau enggak dicegat jalan itu. Enggak boleh masuk. Enggak boleh lewat jalan provinsi.
iya pokoknya bikin jalan sendiri
Iya,
harusnya.
jalan sendiri.
Dia harus punya modal untuk
Iya.
keuntungan dia yang besar.
His Excellency, Head of Extreme Weather Subdivision, Meteorological, Climatological, and Geophysical Agency, Dr. Agi Wandala Putra. And all distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us pray and praise to the God. Because of His blessed mercy, we can come together in today's event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our country, let's listen to the Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Meteorological Organization formed a regional training center in which Indonesia was appointed as the RTC for Regional Association 5, which covers South Pacific and Southeastern Indian Ocean regions. The Meteorological, Climatological, and Geophysical Agency, that we know as BMKG, was assigned as the RTC for Meteorology, and Ministry of Public Works and Housing was assigned as the RTC for Hydrology. That's why Ministry of Public Works and Housing through Human Resources Development Agency arranged today's event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first in our agenda will be commentary report from Head of Center for Water Resources and Settlement Competency Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Head of Division of System Management and Competency Development. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Fitri Riandini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, on the behalf of Head for Center for Water Resources and Settlement, Competency and Development, let me read this committee report. In the opening of utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control webinar today, January 31st, 2023. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. His Excellency, Head of Human Resources Development Agency, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Bapak Dr. Halawi Abdul Hamid. His Excellency, Director for Water Resources Engineering Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Bapak Dr. Muhammad Rizal. His Excellency, Director for Operation and Maintenance, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Sub-Coordinator of Technical Planning and Institutional Affairs, Bapak Heru Ramanda. His Excellency, Head of River Basin Organization for Ciliwung Cisadane, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, represented by Commitment Making Officer for Water Resources Management, Bapak Dadang Muhammad Yahya. His Excellency, Head of Extreme Weather for Subdivision, Meteorological, Climatological, and Geophysical Agency, Bapak Dr. Agi Wandala, and all distinguished participants and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. First of all, let us pray and praise to God. Because of His blessing and mercy, we can come together in today's event on Thursday, January 31st, 2023, in the opening of utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control webinar. Before the committee report, I would like to welcome all of you to this today's event. It gives me a great pleasure to be all of you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the committee in this occasion, we would like to report the matters related to this event. First, the purpose and the goals. The purpose of this webinar is in order to carry out the program of Ministry of Public Works and Housing as the Regional Training Center or RTC for hydrology and provide knowledge transfer related to utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control. The goals of this webinar is that the participant, both member of Indonesia and from other regional association 5, which covers South Pacific and Southeastern Indian Ocean regions, get an understanding about utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control and can participate and contribute in flood control according to their responsibility in the society. Second, the participant. To reach the goals of this webinar, the participants expected to participate all the members of the Regional Association 5, which cover South Pacific and Southeastern Indian Ocean regions, who engage in water resources management, such as civil servant, government employee, hydrologist, academician, practitioner, and so on. This webinar attended by 563 participants, consists of 551 citizens and 12 foreigners. Third, the agenda. Utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control webinar held in one day on Thursday, January 31st, 2023. Virtually with the agenda as to follow. First is committee report, second the opening remarks, third is presentation by speakers, fourth by is discussion and
conclusion, and the last is closing. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, that's the committee report on today's webinar. Please enjoy the webinar, and we hope this webinar can contribute in sharing valuable insight, especially for utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control. We apologize for any flaws and mistakes during the session. And for the next, we ask Head of Human Resources Development Agency, Bapak Dr. Kalawi Abdul Hamid, to open this event. Thank you and good morning. Stay safe and healthy. Warm greet, Mr. Alexander Leda, the Head of Center for Water and Settlement Development Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dr. Fitri Riandini for the committee report for today's event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is opening remarks from the Head of Human Resources Development Agency, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. Dr. Kalawi Abdul Hamid has served as the Head of Human Resources Development Agency, Ministry of Public Works and Housing from 2021 to present. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Kalawi Abdul Hamid.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera untuk semuanya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be with you this morning at the opening of the webinar, Utilization of Water Resources Information System in Integrated Flood Control. On behalf of the Ministry of Public Works and Housing, I convey a very warm welcome to all participants in this webinar. Yang saya hormati dan banggakan Pak Ari Setiadi Murwanto, tim pakar PBSDM dan BPR, pejabat tinggi Pratama, baik dari Direktorat Jenderal Sumber Daya Air, ini ada Direktur Bintek, Pak Muhammad Rizal, kemudian Direktur OP diwakilkan ya oleh Pak Heru Ramanda, Pak Kepala Kapus 2 Pak Alexander Leda, Pak Sesba mungkin ya, Sesba PPSDM, dan ada juga Kepala BPWS ya, Ciliwung ya. Ini juga diwakili Pak Dadang Muhammad Yahya, serta dari BMKG Pak Aki Wandala Putra, pejabat administrator dan seluruh jajaran dari Dijen SDA dan BPSDM, para peserta webinar dan hadirin yang saya muliakan. Dan ada Pak Eko nih, Pak Eko Winar, moderator, tentunya tadi narasumber yang saya hormati. Ladies and gentlemen, the Human Resources Development Agency as part of the Ministry of Public Works and Housing has the task of developing competence in the field of public work and housing. One of which is through of organizing webinar as a form of competency development. In addition, this webinar was organized as a form of Indonesia's active participants in Regional Training Center RTC activities. Indonesia was appointed by the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, as the Regional Training Center for Regional Association with RAV which covers the South Pacific and Southeastern Indian Ocean regions. The meteorological, climatological, and geophysical agency was assigned as RTC for meteorology, and the Ministry of Public Works and Housing as RTC for hydrology. This webinar is carried out by Ministry of Public Works and Housing to facilitate transfer knowledge among RAF members as well to fulfill the duties as regional training center. Flood is a disaster that often occur in Indonesia, even though this event didn't otherwise cause fatalities. It still significantly damaged infrastructure and disrupted the community's economy stability. Flood control is carried out to reduce or prevent the adverse effects of flood waters. Generally, flood control is an activity to recognize the magnitudes of the flood discharge, isolate a flood in adjacent area, and reduce the height of the flood water elevation. Data has an important role in flood control. If the water resources information system is an information system that is used to collect, process, store, and produce information regarding the condition and management of water resources, which include hydrology, hydroclimatology, and hydrogeology. Water resources information system in Indonesia is managed by three government agencies, namely the Ministry of Public Works and Housing in hydrology sector, meteorological, climatological, and geophysical agency in hydroclimatology sector, and the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in hydrogeology. Water resources information system is usually accompanied by a flood early warning system to predict flood event and their in condition areas. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that through this webinar, we can increase our competency and knowledge of using water resources information system and flood control. Furthermore, we all can take a role in flood control according to our respective field. Finally, by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I declare that the webinar Utilization of Water Resources in Information System in Integrated Flood Control is officially started. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much to Dr. Kalawi Abdul Hamid for the opening remarks of today's event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I would like to inform the guidance of today's webinar. First, this webinar will be present in English. Second, please fill out the attendance form that we share in the chat box. And third, if you have any question, please fill it out in the chat box. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for us to enter the main agenda for today's webinar. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for us to enter the main agenda of today's webinar. And it's an honor for all of us here to have four speakers. Joining us today, our excellent speakers who have expertise in advancing, especially about utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control. The session will be led by expert researcher of Directorate of Water Resources Engineering Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. Without further ado, Professor Eko Winar Irianto, the time is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to International Webinar on Utilization of Water Resources Information System, WRIS, in Integrated Flood Control. In terms of Regional Training Center, World Meteorological Organization, WMO, for Regional Association 5. The regional scope are the countries in the Southern Pacific and Southeast Indian Ocean. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Eko Winar Irianto, and I am going to be the moderator today. As we know, the objective of the webinar are to give information and transfer knowledge related to the application of hydrology, hydrometeorology, and hydrogeology to control flood problems incorporated. And for that, we have arranged into 2 sessions, 2 speakers, and 2 experts for the panel discussion. And after 2 speakers have presented their topics for around 20 minutes personally, then we'll have a panel discussion for about 30 minutes, and all audience can ask their question if they have questions, and you can type your question in the chat box, and I'm going to read them for you. Okay, first session. So can we start the first session? In this session, we have 2 speakers who are already with us. First, we have Mr. Heru Ramanda from the Directorate General for Water Resources, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. And the second, Dr. Agi Walanda Putra from the Meteorological and Climatological Agency, or well-known BMKG. Both of them responded to the government of the Republic of Indonesia. So welcome to our presenters in this session. For first presenters, I'm going to invite Mr. Heru Ramanda. I'll read your profile. Yeah. Now, currently, Mr. Heru Ramanda is the staff of the Directorate of Operation and Maintenance for Water Resources Infrastructure, Directorate General for Water Resources, Ministry of Public Works, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. So, Mr. Heru Ramanda, your time is about 20 minutes. So please, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Prof. Eko. Did my sound sounds clearly to you and to all the participants? Can you hear my voice clear?
Yes, Pak Heru, your voice is very clear.
Thank you, Pak Ari. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all of us. Yang kami hormati Bapak Kepala BPSDM, Bapak Dr. Kalawi, Bapak Alexander Leda, Bapak Prof. Eko selaku moderator pada sesi pagi hari ini. Yang kami hormati juga Pak Ari Setiadi dan Pak Prof. Dr. Waluyo selaku panelis, Bapak dan Ibu narasumber sekalian, serta Bapak Ibu peserta webinar yang tidak dapat saya sebutkan satu persatu, and also to our honorable colleague from the World Meteorological Organizations. First of all, let us praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because of His grace and guidance. We can all gather here in the morning in the webinar event in good health and well-being. And also let us send salawat and salam to our Prophet Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Before we begin, we would like to convey our apologies from our Director of Operation and Maintenance, Mr. Adnan Rashid, because he's not able to join the webinar this morning because there are coordinating meeting of the Director General of Water Resources currently happening from yesterday until today, and he assigned us to on his behalf to deliver the information material related to the integrated flood control policy in Indonesia. I would like to share some screen and share some information to all the participants. Okay, here are some outline that we are trying to discuss today, and we are trying to give some informations from the legal framework, disaster issues in Indonesia, water resource information systems that we are developing until today from the Director General of Water Resources and also the Director of Operation and Maintenance. Early warning system and disaster management command center that we have, and then the conditions of water resource infrastructures in Indonesia, flood control strategies, and strengthening flood mitigation plan. Also, there are some ministry directives in flood preventions and operations and maintenance management. Here are some of the several laws that or the legal framework of disaster management in Indonesia that we are referring for decision making in case of a disaster happens. From the national law until the ministerial decree, we can use these informations as a guidance and also as a reference in mitigating and also in mitigating the disaster in Indonesia. As we know, Indonesia is geographically located in the Ring of Fire. Therefore, we have to cope with high risks of disasters such as volcanic eruptions, tsunami, earthquake, flood, and also drought. And based on climate change portal and World Bank, there are 5 key vulnerabilities Indonesia is facing. The first one is floods, one of the greatest threats to more than 13 million people in Jakarta and other major urban centers. The second one was the sea level rise. It is threatens 42 million people live less than 10 meters above sea level. And for information, maybe if there is a rise of 50 centimeters in the sea level, it could inundate over 270,000 houses. This is the case in Jakarta and also in Bekasi. The third one was the El Nino effects. These effects will reduce average rainfall and water storage capacity while exposing large areas to drought and fire. The fourth one was the La Nina effects. These effects which will increase the rainfall intensities due to a massive growing of the rain clouds, and also climate change also a threat to us because it will increase the hydrometeorological risk and also decrease food security. Climate change is one of the great causes that that causes floods due to the increase of the rainfall intensity. As we can see on the attached chart, there were a total of 1,209. The data that we gathered here in the Disaster Management Command Center in Director General of Water Resources. And it happens throughout in 2022, in which 92.4% of them were dominated by flood events. This number can conclude that floods are exposing us to a constant risk. The impact of floods, as we can see in the chart, based on the data that we get from the BNPB, the infrastructure damage as a result of floods is fluctuating from 2007 until 2021, and the highest total infrastructure damage occurred in 2021 with a 56.16% increase from year 2020. The damage rate from the last 2 years can be considered very high. Therefore, we need to prevent and mitigate possible flood events so we can save as much as we can. In 2021, the highest number of infrastructure damage is around 102 and 257 units infrastructure damage. This is caused by flood-related events. And so, how do we mitigate the disaster and prevent the possible worst impact? One of the things that can be done is through water resource information systems. It is a non-structural measure approach that we are trying to develop, and we consider this can give a big impact in mitigation, in disaster mitigations. Currently, we have developed 2 information systems that can help us monitor our water infrastructures. The first one is Simadu, a website developed by PUPR by utilizing BMKG and BRIN data. And this website has several features such as monitoring through automatic water level recorder and automatic rain recorder. We can also gather some information related to heavy equipment distribution as our Preparedness Act, rainfall predictions, and also reports about disasters that's been happening in throughout Indonesia. We can also gather information from social media, from Twitter. If there's some flood happening or disaster happening, and some of the citizens tweet about it, just give a hashtag flood or banjir, and then the informations will being reported to the Simadu website. And the second one was Sinbad. This website is more focused on dam monitoring. It is a website to monitor real-time dam conditions in structural safety, seepage, hydrological aspects, and also to monitor the realization of reservoir operation annual plan. This is an early warning system that has been developed in Directorate of Operations and Maintenance. In general, we do the data collections and quality control rainfall data from BMKG, and we do the analysis with the data using hydrologic and hydraulic models to generate the flood predictions and the inundation map. And the outcome of this is the report containing information regarding the flood prediction and inundation map, and then we inform the prediction to the river basin organization that are spread in Indonesia. After we receive and analyze the rainfall prediction from the BMKG, then the Command Center of Disaster Management in Directorate General of Water Resources will inform the RBO regarding the disasters or the predictions, and with the help from the Disaster Management Agency and the regional government, the disaster management will be done immediately. And again, the Command Center has also received reports from the River Basin Organization or even from the social media, and then we can coordinate how to better plan, how to develop a plan to mitigate the disaster and then to help the citizens. Here are the output that are being spread throughout our river basin organizations from the Command Center of Disaster in Water Resource in the Directorate General of Water Resources. On the attached picture, we can see some prediction regarding the rainfall predictions and also inundation map. Here are the sample for the Semarang city. Currently we can develop the predictions until the level of district and kecamatan, and we can predict how high the inundations will be and around what time the inundation will occur. So it will give better preparedness for the people and also the river basin organization in the area to mitigate the possible disaster or flood. We have also developing how to predict some inflow that will come or that will happen in our infrastructures, such as in our dams or in our river, so we can predict the high level of the water in our infrastructure. Our water infrastructure conditions currently, based on the data in January 2023, we have existing currently now 222 dams that can contain 7.3 billion meter cubic volume of water, and we also have 192 flood control pumps. We have flood control tunnel that has a discharge capacity around 2 times 334 meter cubic per second. We have also retention ponds that can contain volume of 3.07 million meter cubic of water. We have retention basins and lake, and also the coastal protectors. And so to implement the flood control strategy, I think providing storage capacity is a must. And we also targeted until 2024, next year, we will have a total of 247 dams, where 57 of 61 dams that were constructed from 2014 until 2024 will be used also for flood reduction, with a total discharge rate of 13,144.93 meter cubic per second. Also, as we all know, last December, our presidents and our ministry also already there are Ciawi and Sukamahi dry dam that already operational. This can reduce flood in Ciliwung River with a total storage capacity of 6.05 times million, 6.5 million reducing the flood discharge up to 111.21 meter cubic per second. So these two dry dams will also help Jakarta greater area to reduce flood and to contain more water to contain the water in the dam.
Excuse me, Mr. Heru, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And so, in order to mitigate the flood events, there are some flood control strategies that needs to be done. The first one, as I said earlier, to optimize the storage capacity in our dams, in the retention pond and the flood control panel, and also to increase the alertness of all involved party. Here are some preparedness that we have in all river basin organizations, from the heavy equipment until the gabions or the geobags and sandbag to mitigate and as a emergency response in regards of flood happening. Also, we are trying to strengthening our flood mitigation plans by establishing a flood control management unit, and this is a work unit that is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the rivers and the support infrastructures. This unit is also responsible as a regulator and control of the water flow when a flood events occurs. This is a series of activities that are done immediately when a disaster occurs. We have emergency response teams, and then we will make some action plan, evaluate the resource availability, and then execute the action plan. These are the steps that the emergency response team are doing in terms of disaster happenings. They will collect all the data, identify, analyze the level of damage, set the plan, and also set the priority level, and then execute the emergency action that needs to be done. Some ministries' directive in flood preventions is to ensure that the SDA command center is ready, and then prepare a unit in RBO focusing on flood preventions. We have create some SOP regarding flood preventions for our infrastructures, and then we do weather and inflow predictions, and also deploy some observer and officer to do live monitorings in the river area. And lastly, we have a recipe to maximize and then optimize our infrastructure with OPOR. The first one is the optimizations of our infrastructures, and then do maintenance to our infrastructures, and then operating to functionalize operations of our infrastructure to functionalize and then maximize our infrastructures, and also do rehabilitation plan to restore the functions of the existing infrastructures. I think that's it from me. Lastly, Directorate General of Water Resources is committed in increasing the alertness and also mitigating the possible flood disasters. I apologize if there are some flaw regarding my presentations, and then I think I finished my presentations now. Thank you very much, Pak Eko.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Heru Ramanda. Your presentation explaining the integrated flood control policy in Indonesia, and you give interesting. So next, I invite Dr. Agi Walanda Putra from BMKG. Then I'll read your profile. He is currently a coordinator of Jakarta Tropical Cyclone Warning Center of BMKG. So, all right, you have 15 minutes to present your paper. Could you please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Eko. I would like to present my part on the hydrometeorological data, especially for the flood control. So let me set up certain things. Okay, so First, Prof. Eko, my name is Agi Wandala, not Walanda, but it's okay.
Sorry, very sorry.
No problems, no problems at all. So it's my slide is clear enough. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the chance and the opportunity in this morning. I'm really grateful to present you with my short presentations, talking about the hydrometeorological data that really, or we all of us know, this data is really impactful and really important to support related with the flood control and management. So my name is Agi, as introduced by Prof. Eko recently. So again, for some of you who are not really familiar with the hydrometeorology, because these terms usually we just combine together, which is this is already part of two big major study on the hydrology and also the meteorology. But of course we cannot separate the hydrometeorology. And as you know that in the agency of meteorology in the international terms, we also knew that it's called the National Meteorology and Hydrometeorological Agency. But we lucky in Indonesia, both of the activities is managed by two different and also two big agencies in Indonesia. And we hope we can always strengthen the capacity and also improve the skill, especially for the flood control. So again, just a reminder that if we're talking about the meteorology, so mostly we will talk about the capacity on detections, on understanding about the weather or the atmospheric phenomena. So this is the part that we need to clearly understand, because all those phenomena, especially for the precipitations, for the rainfall, when it comes up and come through the land, it's going to be another area which is handled by the hydrological things. So we can understand that the water things on the land surface, on the earth, we need to talk about the hydrology. Of course, it's, for me, it can become more complicated because you will talk about the biology, chemical, physical, and many properties, and especially on the environmental things. But then we cannot dismiss yet these two big topic and discussions. We need to merge and we need to integrate it all together, because all about this flow, this cycle, is really related. So that's why we call the hydrometeorological relations. And then I would like also put underline about the understanding of about the hydrometeorological itself, because we need to, well, all of us understand that naturally the atmospheric condition will be come on the shape, come the structure, and also impacted on the structure of the land itself. So what we call as the hydrological cycle. So this is the basic things that I'm a bit forgot, but maybe it's been since our elementary school we already start to know, or maybe on the junior high school we start to understand about the hydrological cycle. This is really basic standard and understanding, which is also agreed by WMO and also UNESCO, that the hydrometeorological cycle is going to be really part of the part that we need to clearly understand on each cycle. So we can understand that on the part of the meteorological things, of course, the predictions capacity, it will be accumulated between the atmospheric conditions, weather, climate, and all the natural hazard. But the other side, we need to also understand the condition or the capacity of the environmental itself. So then we're talking about the forest fire, the drought, the flood, and also impact the storm itself. And we can also understand that when it's not managed very well, so it's going to become to threat, which is really dangerous for the public safety and also for the purpose of the generosity of the people. So that's why the hydrometeorological things is going to be critical that we need to discuss in the future. And glad myself came from the Agency for Meteorology, so we mostly handle the part of the atmospheric area. So I'm also happy to be all of you in this opportunity, so we can see what kind of the capacity that we can combine and also support each other. So if we're talking about the component of the hydrometeorological itself, so part of the atmospheric component, so it sounds more simple, but in other side it's going to be the complex system, because some scientists say that the weather phenomena, the atmospheric phenomena, is the complex system. If we're talking some really simple component, for example, the rainfall, wind speed, humidity, temperature, radiations, evapotranspirations, it's something that maybe it's going to be really simple subcomponent, but if we're talking about the tropical area, it's going to take a long time to discuss and to understand, because we have what we call the big convective system in our area. What that's mean? Because we receive a huge radiations and energy, so it's going to be come up with also a strong convective system. So it make the cloudiness is easy to form in Indonesia or in the tropical area. So that's why we need to adapt. We need to realize and we need to receive the conditions of the climate and also the weather in maritime continent area, especially in Indonesia and some neighborhood country like Malaysia, Brunei, and the other side. That we need to know that this is the conditions of the local characteristic and also regional characteristic. But the other side, of course, we cannot forget the hydrological components, about the land surface and also soil, also groundwater, which all the variable that we need to check one by one. Because once we're talking about the capacity and also the vulnerability of the urban or of the city, so we need to investigate all this level until we understand all the component of the part. And when it's come for the early warnings clustering, so we need to also adapt and also make simplifications, because we need all those representations, but sometimes we cannot get the data. So I need to mention in this presentations that we need to finding, because this is really important, because the effective hydrometeorological data sharing is going to be really or become a key. We thought the component of the meteorology, maybe the hydrological part will be got the blank information from what will be the next. And glad the capacity of forecasting in weather and climate, it becomes strengthened years by years. And we can see also the range of the forecast is going to be also more powerful. And also in the other side, we also understand that the interest of the environmental and also the society is going to be really large, because we will talk about the water supply, the water security, and also the aquatic system. And in other side, we're talking about the power generation. So this kind of component is going to be really a strength part to reducing the flood risk. And also we can start to discuss and begin the operating of the early warning system, because it's going to be more complex and difficult, because once we're talking about the technical part on the early warnings capacity, but in the other side also we need to see also that socio and also economical impact sometimes is also important and need to be also put as the part of early warning system and what we call now as the multi-hazard early warning system. So now I want to introduce you a bit about what actually BMKG did on the extreme weather warning systems. So basically, our main capacity and our main component on the meteorological business is the observation system. So this is the part that we always put or enlarge the networking area from the ground stations, synoptic stations, surface stations, rain gauge, and anything else. And glad that by supporting from the Ministry of Infrastructure and another parties, we can get more dense network. But in the other side, we need to also consider that the capacity of the remote sensing is really become a key, because like satellite, radar, and space observation is become part that can merge integrated together into what we call as the analysis and also forecasting system. And it become more integrated all the component, like in the right side, the radar data, meteorological stations, upper air stations, marine meteorological stations, and many others like AWS. And don't forget also the capacity of the forecasting. So this is the diagram that easily to you for understand the purpose of the weather forecasting, including for the hydrometeorological detections. We need to have at least the three components. The first one is the observations data. The second one is the NWP, or we call as the numerical weather predictions. And the other side is about the atmospheric phenomena. So I will talk two of the part for this opportunity to talk about the sum of observations data and also part of the numerical weather predictions, because I believe you really need the component of, especially for the precipitations, as the main data for hydrological modelings. So I can assure you that in Indonesia, we grow slowly, but glad now due to the solutions in the IT technology, we can see that from 2007, BMKG start to develop the NWP really basic with the images approach. But then in 2011, we already start running the first local areal model or limited areal model. This model is mostly for the numerical weather predictions, which is for weather forecasting. But of course, the output will be really useful for the.
Excuse me, Dr. Agi,
Yes.
please,
Yes.
5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so for gather the informations. So I can show you that BMKG also operated some NWP models, not just from Indonesia, but also received from the other resources. And so soon, I think this is the most newest technology that we will have it in Indonesia, because we not just only consider the atmospheric interactions, but we merge also coupling with the ocean and also atmospheric modeling. So I believe it can be more precise, yeah, for the forecasting and help all of us to get a better forecasting. And to reduce the limited observations because we have a really large area of the monitoring and responsibility. So we can also use the precipitation from the satellites. But we cannot forget also the main basic of the capacity of the observations. You can also have the weather radar network. And glad now in Indonesia we have the 42 observations. We can see that, of course, it's not 100%, but slowly we can cover all the regions. So I believe it's going to be helpful, because we realize that flood or flash flood is really a fast onset threat or hazard. So we can use this kind of data and also informations to integrate it with your system, with the data. So the exchange of the information will be quite helpful for the early detections of early warnings. So the last part of my presentations, I would like also to introduce you that BMKG and also the Ministry of Infrastructure also responsible for the Southeastern Asia Oceania flash flood guidance system, and also we manage for the Jakarta urban flash flood warning system. So glad that now it's being operated, yeah, the system what we call as the SAO FFGS, or Southeastern Asia Oceania flash flood guidance system. So the system is part of the international networking. So on behalf of WMO, World Meteorological Organization, we can say that we are one of the several international community on the flash flood guidance system. So the system is built up together, not just from BMKG, but it's also from the several organizations, and that is being operated in our regions. We, together with the Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, and also Timor-Leste, we operate the system that cover several countries together. And this is the main workflow of the system. We can see that all the processing is being sustainable. So we can see that I believe in the future, audience can also try and also use the system to integrate it. But now you can see this is the main or the basic of the flash flood guidance system or model components, because at the end you can having the observation part. It's going to be covered by satellite and radar and also the forecasting part. And at the end, we can produce what we call as this one, yeah, flash flood guidance system, including the risk map, including the threat itself, and related with the soil moisture as you seen on the picture. So just small case before I close my presentations. This is the case of the last time in Manado, yeah, just recently. We can see that on the average soil moisture monitoring, we can see that the painful states can be monitored on this part, but then we can also generate the risk itself, and it's quite accurate. So it's going to be a part of or good example that between the atmospheric or meteorological data, we need to combine with the hydrometeorological data and also modeling. So it's going to can be a useful structure of the early warning in the flood or the flash flood. So, Prof. Eko, I think that's my short presentation. So I hope that it can open your mind or audience related with how important the meteorological and the hydrology data for the early warning system in all regions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aki Wandala Putra. Your presentation was interesting and described how the meteorological data can support reducing flood problems. So, the next we arrive at the panel discussion time in the first sessions. In this opportunity, we have two experts who can give comments, supports, and challenges for applying those papers. First, Dr. Aristiadi Murwanto, Master of Science. Currently, he is the hydraulic experts in Ministry of Public Works and Housing. And the next is Professor Dr. Waluyo. Repeat, next is Professor Dr. Waluyo Hatmoko, Master of Science. He is a hydrological expertise. So we adopt about their experiences. Then Dr. Ari and next Professor Waluyo, you have 15 minutes personally, give the comments, support, and challenge for making a bigger impact on our community. So the time is yours. Thank you. Please.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Eko. Ladies and gentlemen, what a very interesting and important presentation from Mr. Heru and Dr. Aji Wandala. If the committee allow me, I will give some illustration for my response to that very interesting and very important presentation. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, early warning is one advantage that may support our water resources operation and maintenance. But another challenge that we have to prepare and to adjust our the way that we can operate is the design of our infrastructure. Otherwise, only small thing that we can do. For example, Mr. Heru has just mentioned, we have many reservoirs, but only a few on it completed with gate and there's a spillway. So in this condition, it is hard to maintain the storage, to reduce the peak discharges. That's why our program in the Directorate General of Water Resources is to complete and to adjust the design of our dams to construct a dam here. And this device is very important in the condition that the dam storage is relatively small to be compared to the annual inflow, meaning that it is the dam is always full. And then the dam is intended to mitigate flood to very important infrastructure. For example, here is the design, it's a general design of the Bener Dam. Formally, it is designed without early release facilities in this spillway, for example. Okay, for the return period of 2 years, it is the capability of the dam to reduce the peak discharge is high enough. But for the return period of 50 years, it is very small. Only it's about 1%. Once we modify the design of the spillway, we can see here that the capacity of the capability, the dam to reduce the peak discharge could be increased from 1.2% up to 51%. That's why it is very important. And then I do agree with Dr. Agi and Mr. Heru explanation that we need the dedicated dam operator, and we have to optimize the hindcasting and forecasting released by the BMKG. It is basic principle. Second, the next thing is about the historical data versus the simulated data. Ladies and gentlemen, normally, for example, here, the issued flood risk map is set up by the historical data. And so the flood must be verified by, for example, the location of the flood here, and this other spot, for example. It must be regularly updated. We have software, to support us, to update this condition, because the condition may be changed. I mean, that cause the flood may be changed from day by day, for example. In the Palace area, has been flooded since the collapse of this East Bypass Canal in the Latu Harhari Street condition. Nowadays, has been strengthened, and the pattern of the flood may be different. And that's why we have to make a new condition, with the about the flood rates, and then to take into account, for example, how about the impact of the sea level rise? What is the impact of the land subsidence? What is the impact of the sedimentation? What is the impact of the enlargement of our weighted perimeter of rivers? Because river system always give response to natural and human activities. We have to update it regularly and pre-simulated condition with several scenarios. So if the BMKG release some, for example, it is well distributed rainfall or only spotted in this sub-catchment area, so we can predict what will happening, and when, and how the condition it should be, for example, like that. And the key is about the updated flood risk map. And it is very interesting, the condition of this rainfall in Indonesia. Dr. Agni has mentioned what the convective rainfall, it is very dominant in Indonesia. And as far as I know, it is a bit difficult. I mean, the lead time to predict that condition. For example, the flood in the latest flood in 2000, in the early 2020, it is the highest that recorded rainfall in Jakarta, for example. We just got some information 6 hours before the condition, and it is a bit hard because we are not ready to do that. And but in case of the Saroja cyclone, we have got some information 7 days before, but we have no infrastructure in that area that could reduce the impact when the Saroja cyclone induced the rainfall intensity in that area. So these 2 things, but the basic thing that we have to be prepared for the worst condition. This is the idea. It's very interesting about this question. If I may summarize my response to the both interesting and important presentation. So the basic question is, do our early warning system on drought and flood is well integrated with the design of our major infrastructure? And we have to check it. And if no, what should we do? and optimize the existing infrastructure. And then early release strategy that mentioned by Mr. Heru, it must be decoupled with the required recovery. For example, if we too low, lowering the water level in our dams, it could not be recovered after that. We have to do the strategy, to implement the strategy based on the warning of the BMKG, whether it is extreme weather or just heavy rainfall, for example. And then we need the dedicated teams that may clarify the accuracy of the warning data, well analyze it, interpret and communicate into the simple input to support the decision making in other related information. I think that's all of my comment, Professor Eko. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, Professor Waluyo, give your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Eko. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor for me to be here and to give comments, to bring more insight for the discussion in the next discussion. Actually, it is a very difficult task because the both speaker has presented their paper excellently. However, I would like to compliment and expand. For the first speaker, already discussed about the flood control policy based on legal aspect as well as the operational using the advanced software. But let me expand the paradigm, that we are aware that in the early of year 2000, the IWRM, Integrated Water Resource Management, is becoming our way of how to manage the water. And also in flood, there is a shifting paradigm from the flood control, that only controlling the water, into flood management. That is also land use management, water resources management, and also risk management. And then as a simple part of flood management, we can see that the flood is next, please. Flood control is keep the water away from us to make us secure. It is controlling the source of water by watershed conservation, reservoir, controlling the flood water by the normalization, canal, embankment, pumps, and polder. That is, if we can control the water, it's flood control. But if we cannot control the water because the flood is too big, then we can have the second alternative, stay away from the water. This evacuating, zoning, flood hazard map. And then lastly, if it is unavoidable, we can living in harmony with water. For example, sport field in the flood retention pond, flood early warning, and houses on the stilt. And then for the second speaker, next, already explained excellently about the concept of hydrological data, the importance of data sharing, and then the operational support, and also gave illustration on Jakarta flash flood, as well as Manado flash flood recently. I would like to give other angle. Yes, next please. Yes, flood control need flood hydrograph, and we all know that very important thing is the flood early warning system that need the real-time data. real-time data. But we should not forget the historical data, yeah, because historical data is used for planning and design, yeah. Historical, what kind of historical data? It is the most important part for flooding is from automatic water level recording. But this data is usually scarce, not easy to find. Yeah, many stations become broken and does not have long record. Then we can depend on historical time series of annual maximum flood that also not always exist. So rainfall data that thanks to BMKG that take care of rainfall data, and we have usually have annual maximum of rainfall data. I think this will complement the presentation of the previous two speakers, and this conclude my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ari and Professor Waluyo, for your comments. So, to Mr. Heru Ramanda and Dr. Agi, do you have answer or additional information about Dr. Ari's and Professor Waluyo comments? Please, you have, please 15 minutes personally. Mr. Heru and Dr. Agi, maybe you have.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Eko.
Information, yeah, please.
Yes, Pak Ari, we agree with you on how we need to do better design on our infrastructures constructions, and also the design of our infrastructures. As the data that you have shown, we are currently also had a homework on how we modify some of our dams and also other infrastructures on how we can better optimizing the infrastructure to reduce the flood itself. But yeah, the next one is how we recover those with an early release strategy on how we can recover those infrastructures. So we also now trying to develop some inflow predictions, Pak Ari, so that we will know how much water will come from also the data with the rainfall predictions, and then we can better decide and use the SOP on the early mechanism system. So when we open the floodgate in our dams or our other infrastructure, we will know how much water will come and then recover those infrastructures, so that other needs for the irrigations and for water drinking and industries can still be fulfilled. Yeah, it is a homework for us, and hopefully we can do better design, and then we can fully maximize and optimize our infrastructure with better operation strategies and the maintenance plan for our infrastructures. And for Prof. Waluyo, yes, we also agree with you in terms of the flood mitigation plans. So with the zoning and the zoning systems, and then the flood predictions, currently we also take into actions on how the land use data are being used on how we can predict more accurately regarding those more accurately in the area of our especially in major urban cities, because as we know the land use data and also the land use data is growing rapidly, and then it changes our also model predictions, and also we need to compare those model prediction with our historical data. So yeah, with the help of BMKG, of course, with Pak Agi, we hope we can improve our early warning systems, and then we can give more better results in predicting and mitigating the flood and disasters from happening. Thank you, Bapak.
Okay, could you please, Dr. Argi, if you have additional information?
Yeah, thanks again for Profilio and Dr. Ari for the underline also the strength of statement. So I cannot say that I can say that I can be more agree with what we just saying, but I'm interested to respond related with the capacity of the rainfall predictions, because this is the things that become questions in Indonesia, because if I made to more explain that Indonesia, we have our own system, atmospheric system, climatic system, which is really different. So for all of you, if you go for the north or southern area of the world, you can see that the weather forecast is more easily to predict, because they have the air, what we call as the air mass system. So it's more clear, more accurate, and we can more believe for the precipitation forecast. But when it's come for our regions, so the precipitations of the rainfall forecast is going to be a big question and also a big issue, because we have the convective system. This is the system that make our regions, we can say that all the years we can see the rainfall cloud. We have the cumulonimbus system, and we can also, we're not even talking about the La Nina in the regular years, in the annual. Also, we can see that some of the province, some of area, we can receive some big amount of the rainfall. And really good example, several years back, that the tropical cyclone Seroja, one of the big phenomena that's come through all the regions, because before we not consider as this phenomena can be what we call as downfall. That's mean the storm or the tropical cyclone come to our regions on the land system. We can also recall the Cempaka system, the tropical cyclone Cempaka, which also struck the area of the southern of the Java, especially in Yogyakarta, and also is Java several years back. So we can understand that this kind of phenomena, we can dealing the first things that the anomaly it's real. We're not talking about the climate change now, but this is the fact that we can see the changing of the scenario of the meteorological system is true. So how we can do with this kind of situation? So we need to adapt, because we can say that this is the natural phenomena that we can facing in the coming future. And in the other side, also with some, if I may also mention some atmospheric phenomena like the monsoon, the La Nina, and also one of this is not really popular, but in the meteorological world, what we call as the tropical wave. This tropical wave is sometimes make the rainy days become more dense, more heavy. And sometimes if it's a bit dry, so it's become more drier. So what I can say that the glad in another side, with the more dense of the observations capacity, it make the capacity or the resources for the weather forecasting modeling also increases. So I also seen some questions on the chat that we start also moving on the capacity to use several kind of the model, become ensembling in the one single model who really can perform a really better accuracy. So we can say that we need to believe that day by day, the meteorological agency also providing better accurate of the rainfall predictions, estimations, and also the prognosis. So we can use this kind of as the basic data and resources to make whatever of the simulations of the model. And one of the important things also, I think Dr. Ari also mentioning about the latency of the product or the forecasting. So I can say also the 7 days forecast now is increased to be 10 days forecast now. So that's mean we can use this kind of information become the really early signal for alerting the people and for all of us to be prepared, compared to before. And of course, we cannot forget about the better planning, because the climate information is also there. So I can introduce you one thing. It's called the S2S, seasonal to subseasonal, the capacity to predict not just only the next 10 days, but it's also another 10 days and another 10 days. So I believe if our modeling capacity and also the response capacity is going to be make us more well prepared to facing the flood hazard. Thank you, Prof. Eko.
Thank you, Mr. Heru Amanda and Dr. Agi, for your additional information. So, all right, we move to the question and answer for participants. Actually, we have so many questions, but maybe I choose the question. Could you please inform? Yeah. First, for Mr. Heru Ramanda, this is from Isatama Windarto, Directorate General for Water Resources. How accurate is the prediction of the upcoming flood early warning system that is currently used? Okay, this is first for Mr. Heruwanda. And second, also from Mr. Yusuf, Dinas PSDA Cilacap, for Mr. Heru Ramanda. Is there any area in Indonesia which can be predicted by the system? And when is the data updating, such as land use data? Okay, close. Okay. Could you please, Mr. Heru Ramanda, maybe you have information. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Eko. Regarding the accuracy of the flood predictions, we are still validating those accuracy. I think we give the prediction informations on a day-to-day basis based on the data that we get from the BMKG, and then we will spread the informations in terms of the flood predictions and alert status on the river basin area. And then on a monthly basis and a weekly basis, we'll try to compare the reality and the predictions. So it's currently maybe we are still trying to compare those reality and then the reality in happening in the area. So it's still how do I say it, fluctuative accuracy, I think, because still it is a prediction. It can happen and it also cannot happen. So but we are trying to improve those accuracy by improving the data and the modeling software that we have, in terms of better data that we use, better parameter that we use, so that the accuracy can be improved. So it's still a little bit fluctuating, Pak Eko. On a weekly and monthly basis, we are trying to compare the reality and the predictions. And then the second question is the informations for prediction in whole Indonesia, ya, Pak Eko?
Yeah. Okay, I repeat this. Is there any area in Indonesia which can be predicted by the system? And when is the data updating, such as land use data?
Okay,
from Mr. Yusuf, Dinas PSDA Cilacap.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Yusuf. So we currently already predicted the whole area in Indonesia on all river basins that we have. But the Indonesian's predictions model are currently developing to several major cities like Jakarta and Semarang, and then currently and we are trying to add more outcome by predicting more major cities in Jakarta, because in Jakarta and Semarang we can give some predictions until the level of districts, and we can predict the high level of inundations and at what time the inundation could occur, so that it can help better preparedness on our people in the river basin organizations. But on a status alert predictions regarding the high level rainfall and then the status of awareness, we already developed in the whole area in Indonesia, Pak Eko. And the data we are given on a day-to-day basis. So every day we give predictions for the next day and even until 3 days ahead. So firstly, we get the data from the BMKG. Today, let's say this morning, we get the data, the rainfall predictions from Pak Agi and team. And then we compile those data and then put it into a model, and then we can give some predictions about the flood and the rainfall prediction for the next day, for tomorrow, and also the 3 days ahead. And then we, on the next day, we will compare those model and compare those accuracy. And we also do live monitoring radar situations and weather situations. So if there are some changes regarding the situations of our weather, we can model, or we can do quick analyze on those changes, and then do direct coordinations with river basin organizations.
Okay.
I think that's it, Pak Eko. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heru Ramanda. And then the question for Dr. Argi, please. This is a question from Mr. Marudin from Balai Teknik Rawa in Banjarmasin. The question is, will in the future all the ready used data can be put on open cloud system where it can be used by all stakeholders, or can be integrated cloud system which is operated by multi-stakeholders due to floods management? Okay, please, Dr. Agi Wandala. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Pak Eko. So thanks, Pak Marudin. So thanks to the evolutions of the technology, right now we can easily talking about the cloud system. So currently, BMKG is still developing the cloud-based service, for the hydrological data, especially for the meteorological data and also some of the informations. But right now, we providing the approach of the API. So you can easily also to find your necessary informations or data that you expect, and you can consume the informations with the API approach. But Pak Eko and Pak Marudin, since you're mentioning about the open cloud system, it's going to be really big topic and discussions also, that right now the evolutions of developing the numerical weather prediction is also come through that level. Even right now, WMO through the program is called the GDPFS, the Global Data Forecasting System. Now we recently we working also to enlarge the capacity of the computations of forecastings, because we can know that Indonesia, as I mentioned earlier, that we really need really specific modeling and also a specific approach. We also did the data assimilation. So for some of you who are also working on the modelings, especially for flood or some related hazard, so you need to really carefully if you gather or get the data from the global data, because for those global data, we make some exercise and also analysis, and some of them is not really efficient. So we need to combining the data into the really specific setup and approach to get the best one. So I'm happy that you mentioned that you're expecting the information from BMKG, because we working hard to also finding the best setting, and also the best output for the forecasting, especially for the precipitations, because that's the one who really consider to be a part of the hydrological also modeling also. So I can say that soon we also start to providing the cloud system. So but I believe with the API approach, it's going to be also fast and also easy. So you can start beginning with the server to server, but with the API approach. So it's going to be it's compared to exchange data that need to transmit with a big amount of data. But of course, if you need really specific because each data it has a different level, the different level of the characteristic. So if you need certain of like a volume 0 of the data level, so also you can start discuss with BMKG also. Thanks.
Okay. Once again, for Dr. Agi Wandala, this is from Aji Surya, Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat Bangka Barat. Yes. So this is the question is how to mitigate recurring floods in the estuary area of the river when there is heavy rain in the upstream area. Then the rough river water will flow downstream, meeting the high tide in the estuary area. Then there will be a meeting and puddles around the estuary area of the river. So could you please information? Thank you, Dr. Ari. Sorry, Dr. Agi. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that Pak Heru will strengthen this answer, because it's a part of hydrology. But I would like to put some information also in terms of the capacity of the observations, Pak Eko, because when we're talking about the topographic value in Indonesia is going to be it's really interesting, in Indonesia, because we're facing so many characteristics, so many value, so many shape and everything. Because we're talking like river flow or some sub-basin area, we can see that sometimes the observations or capturing information is really limited. So I can recommend that we can also use the remote sensing data from BMKG, for example. We need to enlarge the capacity because with the weather radar network in BMKG right now, and also together with the PUPR, recently we also add some information. So we believe, I don't know in the case of the bank, but in Java, for example, this kind of informations from the uphill and also the downhill, we can also check all the detections information. So now it's become more easier, because the part of the observation can be more precise. But I believe it's going to be challenge of the modeling itself. So I will leave the part of the story is going to be for Pak Heru because he's
Okay.
Please, Pak Heru.
Thank you, Pak Agi.
Please.
Yeah, as we said earlier, that some strategies to prevent the situation like this is by optimizing our storage capacity of our infrastructures by using early release mechanisms, and then make sure that the infrastructure that we have can contain the water that may come, and then how we make sure that the operations of our infrastructure like the floodgate and then the pump can work and well operating. That's one of the strategies that we are trying to improve, and then trying to push our people in the river basin organizations. Besides that, of course, by improving the early warning systems that we can give the informations to the river basin organizations, so that we can prevent and then we can prepare more on how to cope with the situations. Other than that, also we can make sure that our heavy equipment tools are ready to work and then well operating as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you very much to Mr. Heru Amanda and Dr. Agi Wandala Putra, and also Dr. Aristiadi Murwanto and Professor Waluya for joining us. We very much appreciate it. And please big applause to them. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, this is will be the second session. Please, we have break time 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay.
Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki visi dan misi serta penerapan nilai-nilai luhur untuk menciptakan aparatur sipil negara yang berkualitas dan profesional, serta mampu bersaing sejalan dengan perubahan teknologi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman merupakan salah satu unit kerja di bawah naungan Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia, Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, yang terletak di Jalan Abdul Hamid Cicahem, Kota Bandung, Jawa Barat. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki tugas melaksanakan penyusunan kebijakan teknis dan pelaksanaan pengembangan serta sertifikasi kompetensi di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman menyelenggarakan pengembangan kompetensi yang berperan penting dalam mengembangkan.
Okay, now we are in the second session. For your information, our audiences are public service, companies, faculties, researchers, and students. So this is quite a varied background. I invite Dr. Muhammad Rizal, Master of Science, and Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya. So I'll read the profile. First, Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya is the staff of Ciliwung Cisadane River Basin Management, while Dr. Muhammad Rizal currently is the Director of Technical Development for Water Resources. Both of them are responsible to Directorate General for Water Resources, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Republic of Indonesia. So, Dr. Rizal, could you please present your paper and then follow it, Mr. Dadang? You have time for a presentation about 50 minutes personally.
Okay.
Please. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Eko.
Yes.
Professor Eko. And then Honorable Mr. Alexander, Honorable Mr. Pak Kalawi, the head of BPSDM, then Mr. Alexander Leda, the head of Pusbangkom SPA. Then thank you for the opportunity for me to present the challenges and opportunity in integrated risk. This is about the hydrology, hydroclimatology, and then hydrogeology implementation on utilization of water resources information system or WIS in integrated flood control. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the outline for these presentations is introductions for the beginning, and then legal basis, and then current information system, risk implementation, and risk opportunities. Blending water resources. The need for water resources by humans is very important for various needs, both daily needs, agriculture, industry, etc. Many of the problems faced are related to water balance and resource management, related to development challenges with intense competitions among different uses of water. Water management must articulate and combine several resources to respond to various demands while maintaining the ecological quality of the environment. The connections of various water resources and their management, both surface and groundwater, must be immediately optimized with the latest information technology solutions. It is important for Ministry of Public Works and Housing as the responsible institution to build an effective and efficient water management system Thus, sufficient action was needed so that prompt action can be taken. Why risk needed? There are some causes. One is the hydrometeorological disasters are increasingly occurring with high intensity. And then the existing conditions is the lack of observation posts, not evenly distributed. Many are damaged, most are still manual, and many telemetry posts are inactive. Then technological demands, monitoring and data acquisition must be real-time, timely, and reliable. Then the current conditions, we face the incomplete data with low quality, only a few pass the quality control. And then there is still no clear test for the water quality and hydrology unit in RBOs. It is, I think, including also the problem of human resources. And then the limited human resources and lack of competencies. And then, yeah, this the classic problems. The budget availability is still not ideal. Then about the next slide, water resources, data and information management issues. There are about 3 issues here. One is the unstandardized data. There are no standard data that apply nationally. Data standard, metadata, data interoperability. So it is hard to share. And then second is limited data accessibility. Data and information that can be accessed by websites, information system of some agencies is generally only processed data, while basic data or raw data, which needed both for the analytical and modeling, are still hard to access. Then the third issue is this not integrated. Data informations in each agency have not been integrated with an information system, and the process of sharing data still has to go through the MOU and cooperation agreement process. In some cases, even we have the MOU, but on site we cannot proceed. Then water resources data characteristics. Please facilitate all relevant stakeholders to manage and share data within the scope of water resources to support more measurable decision-making and policy formulations. Then things that must be considered in understanding data informations are the type, data, accuracy, precision, data type, width, ease of access, source, validation, and relevance. And then the process data will become informations and then combine into knowledge and finally can become policy. Then next, data problems in Indonesia. We can name it. One is, the first is the unstructured and the non-standardized data. Then next, the data is stored in different and sketched sources, multiple data producers, and multiple informations. Data entry is inaccurate or inconsistent. The risk of data discrepancies and incomplete. Data quality control has not yet been implemented. Differences in data management systems, and then data overload, and then human resources again. These many data are not ready. Then aspects of supporting data quality. Good quality data must contain the following points, namely punctuality, reliability, completeness, integrity, reasonability, uniqueness, relevance, and accuracy. The complete data requirement must follow Presidential Decree number 39, 2019, regarding data standard, metadata, and interoperability rules, which is consistent in syntax or form, presentation, and semantics, and safe in open format that can be read by electronic system. Objective risk in Indonesia, there are 4 objectives, which are: one is for the data, which is important related to collecting the available data from varied sources, integrated database, data quality, and organized in standardized GIS format, provide scalable web-enabled information system. Second, we need to build information system from a variety of nationally integrated data and applications. 3, interoperability needs to be built in order to provide easier, faster access, sharing of nationally consistent and authentic water resources data through a centralized database and application server to all water resources departments or organizations. And the last, knowledge management. It is to arrange scheme, data exchange, validation rules, metadata, and reporting, transfer of knowledge to improve knowledge and skills in each refurbishing organizations. Risk data integrations. In the building risk data integration, there are 4 main focuses. First, database, which data is available in digital form and has been recorded in file format XLS, SHP, and TXT. And then standard data, there are data standard or metadata to ensure data communications runs correctly. And then the third, the ICT infrastructures, the implementation of appropriate ICT and accelerate data communication from the field to data and information centers such as IoT deployment. IoT means Internet of Things. And then the 4, interoperability, that applications can be interconnected both system and database. Then next, the benefit of integrated and comprehensive risk. We can name it first to engage all stakeholders and then support decisions, increase public participations, rapid and proactive identification of infrastructure faults, increase system resilience, managing limited resources, and then greater cost effectiveness. Then next, about the hydrology, hydrometeorology, and hydrogeology system information database management collaboration flow scheme. We are here have data information are covered in brief, and then where in water resources policy, water resources infrastructures, water resources technology, the environment in water resources in the realm of PUPR are included in hydrology. Hydrometeorology is included in the realm of BMKG, and then the hydrogeology is included in groundwater at Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Then the legal basis of water resources information system, we have here the President's decree about the management of SIH3, or system informations of hydrology, hydrometeorology, and then hydrogeology. This is the President Decree number 88 of 2012 regarding the management of SIH3, and is a derivative of government regulations number 42 of 2008 concerning the management of water resources, and law number 7 2024 concerning water resources, which is about now we have the new one, law number 17, the act number 17 in the year 2019. currently being revised to government regulation number 42 of 2008 and the Perpres related to SIH3. This is the Perpres SIH3 and the coordinating ministers for economic affairs as a revision of the legal basis for management policies. Then need to prepare a revision of the President's Decree number 33 of 2011, the coordinating minister for economic number 7 of 2013 regarding the national water resources management policy, so that it refers to the latest act or law on water resources, namely law number 17 of 2019. Then about the current data and information systems. Next slide. Current information system in Ministry of Public Works and Housing.
Dr. Rizal,
Yeah.
Your time 5 minutes remain. Thank you.
Okay. I will skip this, and then we go to the next slide. This is we go to the WRDC, WRDC, yeah, WRDC. Okay, this is not the next slide, I think. The next slide. Okay, we have what we call water resources data center here. And then water resources data centers, previous slide, so sorry. It is application of web-based information system that can be utilized to facilitate the fulfillment of information needs related to water resources throughout Indonesia. So it consists of data about the infrastructures we already built, and then this is the applications, the water resources data centers need to be filled by our colleagues in Balai Besar, or in RBO, river-based organizations in Balai. So if they cannot or do not do the fulfilling of the data, and it makes the WRDC not going well. Then the next slide is about the SIHCA. This is the Hydrology and Water Quality Information System. SIHCA displayed water alert station points that display high monitoring of flood water levels with various flood status as part of the flood early warning systems. So there are about 2,170 manual and telemetry water gauge posts, and then about 4,000 red posts and then 450 climatology posts that have been included in this website. And then we see the application here on the SIHCA. We can get various information, especially all hydrology data stations, either manual or telemetry. And then we can also get data and information of each hydrological station, administrative location, photos, graphs, and download data itself. SIHCA application development. There are the features of SIHCA application. We can see all data and information hydrology, such as details of hydrological station, high water level data, rating curve, river regime coefficient, dependable flow, and water quality. Then next slide, observation locations. We can also observation data, and metadata, equipment, and then equipment maintenance, and then the calibrations. This is all the challenges of data management that we can improve in future. And then effect of data availability in flood early warning system. This slide shows the differences. Next slide, please. This slide shows the differences in each data used to implement the early warning system. You can see the longer the lead time, and then the more time that can be used to evacuate, thus the lower the risk of disasters. So the higher technology we use, like the satellite data, so we have the lead time to prepare for the emergency conditions. Next slide, effect of data availability in flood early warning systems. So this is we have what we call Jakarta flood early warning system. So we can see here the information about the rainfall and then the water level, and then we can check it. This is in what conditions it is, in condition of awas or siaga, waspada, or it is a normal condition if we fulfill the data, of course. And then the landslide and debris warning systems. This is by our friend in Sabo. They also create what we call this is landslide and debris warning systems, and then also become informations to prediction of landslide and debris floods based on rain predictions from satellites for all regions in Indonesia. Then next, Satgas Banjir. I think this is already what balai or reprobation organizations have in Indonesia. And then next, the double water resources or risk Indonesian roadmap in the future, and then for the future plan until 2027, and then we are on process to make better, and then using the satellite technology for the data, and then next, I think that's all, Pak Eko.
Yes,
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Rizal. And now to Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya. Please, Mr. Dadang, your presentation is around 15 minutes. Thank you. Please still open the mute. Still in the mute. Okay. Here. Oh yeah. Tolong dibantu sini. Still in. Increase your voice.
Is my voice clear?
Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to our distinguished moderator and panelists, Pak Ari, Pak Eko, and Pak Waluyo, also distinguished speaker and participants in this webinar. I'm here today to present the effectiveness of flood early warning system in flood control. In my presentation, I will focus on flood early warning system and its application in river basin organization for Ciliwung Cisadane. Next. First of all, I would like to give you an overview of scope of work river basin organization for Ciliwung Cisadane. So the river basin area is around 5,500 square kilometer with number of watersheds 15 watersheds, and the largest watershed area is Bekasi watersheds, around 1,400 square kilometer. Next. This is the history of floods in Jakarta and also the surrounding city. So since its development, Jakarta and surrounding city.
In your, excuse me, your presentation hasn't emerged in the picture. Okay, maybe please setting again. Your
What about now, Pak Eko?
Yeah, your presentation still not immersed in the session. Okay, maybe setting up again or share again. Share, please share.
Sorry for
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now still muted. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What about now?
Okay. 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 Please. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Yes. So the format has been changed into PDF.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now it's in okay condition.
Okay. Now we discussed about the history of flood in Jakarta. So actually, the flood had been Jakarta and also the surrounding area had been flooded several times since its development from the past until now. The latest major flood hit Jakarta in 2020. Next. Okay. This is the current situation of floods in Jakarta and also some condition that affects the flood. First is there are 13 rivers from surrounding city flow into Jakarta Bay, and then rapid development and land use changes, sea level rise, land subsidence due to excessive groundwater extraction, illegal occupation within the river banks area, garbage disposal, and sedimentation. And also, most of northern part of Jakarta is lowland area. There are three types of floods in river basin. First is coastal flooding, mostly occur in the northern part of Jakarta. Second one is fluvial flooding, mostly associated with land use change within the river basin. And then third is fluvial flooding, mostly related to poor drainage and also high intensity of rainfall. Next. As aforementioned in our title, flood early warning system integrated flood control. So we come to flood risk management. In broader definition, flood risk management consists of risk analysis, risk assessment, and risk reduction. In risk reduction, we have pre-flood reduction. What we do in pre-flood reduction, as we know, as measure. First is structural measure, and then second is non-structural measures. Here, the flood early warning system is part of non-structural measure. So I would like to emphasize here that flood early warning system is small part of flood risk management. However, flood early warning system plays an important role in reducing the flood risk. Next. Okay. Flood early warning system will provide information about potential of flood occurrence by providing water level information as well as prediction. It's a non-structural approach to reduce consequences, both tangible and intangible. And the most important thing that the system will provide time to evacuate. The more time to evacuate, the smaller the consequences. The main principle is to provide information that is fast, accurate, easy to understand, reliable, and sustainable. The early warning is carried out through observation of disaster potential, analysis of observation results, decision making by authorities, dissemination of information, and also action by related parties. There are two types of flood early warning. First is without flood forecasting, and the second one is with flood forecasting, as previously discussed by Pak Rizal and also Pak Heri. Next. This is the element of early warning system. First is risk information. For example, flood hazard maps. Actually, in our river basin organization, we have updated. We have some updated maps. And then the second one is flood data forecasting. what we do here is more to detecting. Next. This is the scheme of flood early warning system in River Basin Organization for Ciliwung Cisadane. What we do is more to detection. And then there is also a forecast. Next. Now, this is what we do. First, we monitor the weather data satellite, and then second one we update the water level status and also its alert, and then third we also update the chronological of water level rise as guidance to prepare for emergency response measures. And then also we make flood reports and recording. Next. Okay, this is the flood early warning scheme for Ciliwung River. Start from Ciawi dry dam in the upstream, and then in the downstream, the recurrence is flood gate of Karet. Next. This is for Bekasi River. Next. Okay. Now, this is the flood alert level of Ciliwung River. The level 4 is normal, the green one. Level 3 is alert. Level 2 is warning, and level 1 is danger. Next. And this is for Bekasi and Cisadane River. Next. Okay. This is our hydrological station. What we have in our river basin organization. We have 41 water level station and 34 rainfall station distributed along the river basin. Next. This is the data availability of water level station and also the rainfall station. Next. Okay. We also have some CCTVs distributed along the river basin. Mostly used to monitor the water level and also in a certain strategic area. For example, like in presidential palace. Next. This is the picture of CCTVs, what we monitor in our organization. Next. Okay. Besides the flood early warning system, what the society expects is also the emergency response when the flood occurs. These are some picture of what we do. First, we deploy our personnel to the field. Also, if there is a flooding and we can help by deploy the mobile pump, so we send the mobile pump to the field. And then we also next. Okay. We also deploy some demountable barrels by using sandbag, and also we also coordinate with local government and also society in the location. Next. Okay. These are some picture of equipment and also flood material in order to support the emergency response measures in the field.
Excuse me, Mr. Dadang.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Baik. All right. Baik. Next.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is the picture of some appreciation from local government, from people that feel being helped by our organization, our river basin organization for Ciliwung Cisadane. Okay, next. Okay, now we have reached our final presentation. What I would like to emphasize here that the flood early warning system in Ciliwung Cisadane River Basin Organization is quite effective. However, there is also some space for development. For example, the utilization of fuels, and also I think that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation from Dr. Muhammad Rizal and Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya. And the next, the panel is discussion time in the second session. The panel experts are still Dr. Ari Setiadi Murwanto, Master Science, and the next is Professor Dr. Waluyo Hatmoko, Master Science. So Dr. Ari and Professor Waluyo, you have 15 minutes personally. Could you please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Eko. May I share screen presentation? Okay. What a nice presentation from Dr. Rizal and Mr. Dada. Okay, it is from one side. May I ask your attention to see another side, about our ancestor, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, our ancestors have some system, very simple system, but they well understand and very dedicated about that system. The Javanese and Sundanese have their own time scratch. Yeah, they call it the Daur Surya Kala Saka Sunda, for example, here. They make 12 time period. Yeah, depend on the position of the sun. For example, if they have the sixth time period, or Kanam, they start to plow their land and start to cultivate them. It is very simple, and I would like to ask you, all of the audience, to take some experiences and learn about from them. Okay. Besides the system, they always check the imagination on the southern sky, to check and verify, whether our time period is correct or not. And then they also use the very simple devices. For example, only a stick of bamboo, they fill it with water and put some mark on it. And then they try to point it out on a certain star. Yeah, in this case, they use the Rembang Petang or Lintang Waluku in the western sky. It is easy. Yeah. If they point it out and whether they check and the remaining water in the bamboo, if it is the condition like in the figure number 5, so it is indicate it is the planting rice period, and the other is either it is too late or too early. What I would like to say here, it is they always check, verify, calibrate, and they fully understand about the devices that they use for the purpose. After some time, the government make some intervention by developing irrigation scheme and reservoir. What is the impact to their culture? So the starting period for the planting is changed, totally changed, because it is the water availability is not naturally based on the rainfall, but we have reservoir, and then also the alternation of the cropping pattern from paddy and chuk to paddy and chuk. In some in some case, they are happy because more crop they are getting. But some people say they are more pressure on it, and they are saying that it is not balanced with the nature. And another thing is the challenge, is shifted from individual to the farmer organization, and the farmer organization must be supported by our risk system. So they are not depend. Yeah, it's very dependable to our data analysis. Yeah, some period is from one side is good, but for the, another side, their point of view, so it is quite new for them. And then if we refer to Dr. Agi presentation, yeah, it's very complicated for them. Yeah, they know very well about the monsoon, but they don't know about the ENSO, the dipole motif, and also the cyclone. Yeah, it is our ancestors did not recognize this phenomena, but now we have we know about the thing. Yeah. Just some short presentation, the summary the presentation of Dr. Agi there. So, and also Dr. Rizal there. We have the system and equipment. So our lead time, yeah, is longer. Yeah, and also our accuracy on weather hindcasting and forecasting, it is becoming higher and higher. And then also we supported by numerical model that we can make a better prediction. Yeah. But still, we need calibration and field measurement to verify. Yeah, our model is only a tool for us. For example, here, yeah, it is the flood occurring on 22nd January 2013. It is a big of a shame for me. We have the system, we have staff to do that. The warning coming, they are not from our team in Pusaya at the time, or Dinas, DKI, or from RBO. But the first warning comes from our colleagues in Delta Res. Yeah, it is at the time it's about 2 p.m. in the morning. In the afternoon, they call me, Marwanta, what is happening with your fluid system? Yeah, it is not from our team. Yeah, it is far away from Delft. They warn me. They give me some warning, and I go to the field and check what is happening there. At the time, the fluid pumping system is under rehabilitation. And when the Latu Harhari dike collapse, the water coming to our pellets, and they open the gate because the standard operation procedure is like that. Yeah. But what is a pity, the SOP was set up for the normal condition. At the time, it is not in a normal condition because the fluid system is pumping system is rehabilitated. Yeah, so they cannot pump, and the water coming to the fluid area. It's a big shame for us. Yeah. So to close my comment, first, do we inherit that kind of defaults as our ancestors? They are very disciplined. Yeah, about and they well know their technology. Yeah, even it is a very simple technology. Okay, we develop, yeah, with Internet of Things and many devices. But the question is, do we rely on the technology itself only and neglect the phenomena to verify it, because it is very important? And then, as we know, the technology is always reliable, yeah, except when it is needed. Yeah. The basic principle is we have to maintain and to check it from time to time. And then it will come to the question, do we have enough teams to clarify the accuracy of the collected data, well analyze it, interpret it, and communicate that interpretation into simple input to support decision making? It is the basic question, yeah. Not the equipment, the system that we use, but the operation maintenance, yeah, and then the system that can increase and the fruit and the dedication of our team must also be taken into account. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ari, and please, Professor Waluyo, give a comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Eko. Ladies and gentlemen, I will keep my comments short to give more opportunities for the audience to have general discussion. But please allow me to have to say two issues on water resources information system, especially the water resources data center. I think many of us are waiting for when it is available in the cloud system that can be accessed by anyone about the general data and for the competent agency for the analysis and decision. Yeah, it's the first issue. And the second issue is the trend is that more public participation. So not only the government that we have a one map policy and one data policy, but for example, if we use in driving, we use Google Map or Waze. There are information about the ground, the traffic, and also in Waze, there is a contributing information from the public about if in the front there will be police waiting and there are camera watching you. So that information is very useful. And I think also in water resources, information from the observer in the field telling that the water level was already such 1 meter, for example, in some point. I think it can be processed and to be utilized to complement the flood early warning system. And for the last speaker, I'm happy that he mentioned the flood risk management and implement it in flood early warning system and emergency response, so that for flooding, we will not depend only on structural measures, but also for the non-structural measures, such as flood early warning system and emergency response. I think that's conclude my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ari and Professor Waluyo, for your information and also inputs and also the challenge for the Dr. Rizal and Mr. Dadang presentation. So, Dr. Rizal and maybe your teams and also Mr. Dadang, do you have the answer or maybe additional information about Dr. Ari and Professor Waluyo mentions? So could you please maybe first maybe Mr. Dadang? Yeah. Okay. It maybe you have additional information. Okay. Please.
And also Pak Waluyo on your comments. Firstly, I would like to give some comment on what Pak Ari asked. First is about the inheritance of kind of default from our ancestor. Actually, this is very interesting, and this is also my first time seeing that forecasting from our ancestor, and I agree on your comment that we can also consider about experience from and also default from our ancestor as our local wisdom. And then the second one, do we rely on technology only and neglect current situation, the current phenomena? Yes, actually, technology is also have limitation, and we have yes, we also agree that we have to also learn about the current situation and the current phenomena, and not only depend on technology. And the third one about the team number, right? Sorry, Pak Ari. The availability of personnel, right? Yes. Actually, the number of personnel in our labor basin organization for suddenly is limited. And we to verify the data, we also use the technology like provided by CCTVs to verify the data. For example, here like water level data. And for Pak Waluyo, thank you Pak Waluyo for your comment.
Okay.
Yes, that's all, Eko.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dadang. And now move to Dr. Rizal or his team. It may be you have additional information. Dr. Rizal or his team. Okay. If so, we move to the question and answer for the audience. Yeah. Actually, we have so many questions, and I will read the answer. Will they ask? First, for Dr. Rizal and his team, this is us from Mr. Iskandar from BBWS, BBB Balai Besar Wilayah Sungai Sumatera 3. Okay. So the question is, how far is the SIH3 Sistem Informasi H3 implemented? How far is the SIH3 implemented? So how is the implementation in BBWS or BWS? Yes. And then the human resources in BBWS and BWS should have implemented this SIH3, and they should be equipped with hydroclimatology, specifically because it's still in the river basin management area. When the flash flood occurs. So maybe Dr. Rizal or his team,
Pak Eko,
you can answer or maybe no?
Ya Pak Oki, Pak Eko dengan saya Oki Pak.
Yes, thank you Pak Oki. Okay, please.
Ya, izin mewakili Pak.
Information.
Okay, thank you for the comment to Mr. Ari and Mr. Waluyo. For the first, I comment about Pak Ari said about the flood in Jakarta maybe. as stated earlier in rights implementation, like JFUS, LIUS, and the other application, maybe about flood task force or Satgas Banjir, have previously considered about calibration. Maybe in the future, in RBOs who make flood forecasting and warning system, who carry out several must be calibrate like FUS or JFUS. And regarding to SIH3 in the future plan, maybe I can share the screen about the integrated data with BMKG. So this is the risk opportunity in the future. Previous meeting with BMKG, I already in there. BMKG presentation about one observation policy as an observation policy where the BMKG will coordinate the policy based on meteorology, climatology, and geographic law. And this is the opportunities to integrated SIHCA in Ministry of Public Works with the BMKG online, especially for rainfall data. And then we hope in the future, not only three ministry in SIH3, but if we identification of hydrological data manager, maybe other institution can be joined with the integrated data, like Ministry of Agriculture, Bakamla, BRIN or Lapan, yeah, Center of Volcanology, Dishidro, and Dinas SDA Provinsi. And then maybe BPPT and Ministry of Environment and Forestry about water quality. And I hope in the future this program will better, Pak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Oki, for your information. And now from Mr. Irfan Sudono, Balai Hidrologi and Lingkungan Keairan, to Mr. Dadang. So, Jakarta is very good in hydrological station. There are many locations for measuring the water level. Just for input, to install equipment that can directly measure the water level along with the flow velocity. This will have an advantage by knowing the cross-section profile, which is measured during the dry seasons, and discharge, so that it will be easier to update the rating curve without having to measure the discharge directly. So could you please, Mr. Dadang, maybe you have information about that. Thank you, please. Yeah, this is.
All right, thank you, Eko. Thank you for Pak Irfan. For actually, this is not a question, but it's more a suggestion, right, Pak Irfan? Yeah. Actually, I also agree that we can use more advanced technology to install equipment that can directly measure the water level and also the velocity, so we can easily update our existing rating curve. Maybe that's my comment, Pak Eko, for Pak Irfan.
Okay.
Suggestion.
Yes. Okay. Once again, the questions from Miss Rita Tahir. Based on our research, we should prepare retarding basin at the site of Ciliwung River in the upstream. So, oh, this is okay. Okay, I repeat again. Okay, This is maybe not complete about the question. So I repeat, this is from the question from Mr. Marudin, Balai Teknik Rawa. Which one is more effective, preventing the flood or reducing the risk using early warning system in your opinion? Okay, Mr. Dadang, maybe you have comments. Thank you. Okay, please.
All right, thank you, Pak Marudin, for your question. Actually, which one is more effective? In my opinion, we have to combine between structural measures and also non-structural measures. So the structural measure is intended to reduce the probability of floods, whether the non-structural measures is intended to reduce the consequences. So while we combine both of them, we can highly reduce the flood risk. Maybe that's my answer, Pak Marudin. Thank you, Pak Eko.
Okay, thank you. Because limitation of time, so thank you very much to Dr. Muhammad Rizal, Mr. Dadang Muhammad Yahya, Dr. Ari Setiati Murwanto, and Professor Waluyo for joining us. We very much appreciate it, and please big applause to them. Thank you. Okay. 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 So this is information to the audience. Please fill in the attendance form to make to identify your attendance. Yeah? Okay, thank you. So please allow me. This is it's time to conclusion remarks. Now we arrive at the concluding remarks. Please allow me to resume our discussion and the webinar today. The first, flood early warning system is one of the non-structural measures to reduce flood risk disaster and to prepare for emergency response. For emergency response measures. The second, we should need to improve our flood early warning system through the cooperation between BMKG and the Ministry of Public Works and Housing in order to strengthen the flood mitigation plan through the flood control management unit and disaster emergency response. The third, the capability data should be developed in order to improve the accuracy of real-time or near real-time data, point values, and aggregated data using in situ and satellite observation data and hydrological model output. The fourth, Model Resources Data Center, WRDC, is a web-based information system that can be utilized for easier information related to water resources data throughout Indonesia. However, there are challenges to data implementation that should be improved through increase the signal at the observation location, control of observation data, regular equipment maintenance, standardized metadata, and also consistent the calibration. Those are my resume and the results of the those are my resume taken the results of the webinar today. So I think today we have 4 speakers and 2 panel experts here supporting their concept that we are hand in hand working together, especially on how to solve flood problems. And every profession does their expertise. And all for audience, thank you very much for being wonderful participants during the sessions for this webinar. Hopefully to see you again in real soon, and big applause for us together. So back to Master Ceremony. Thank you very much for all. Please.
Thank you very much to Professor Eko Winar Irianto as the moderator for legislation and providing a conclusion regarding in agenda. And also thank you very much for the discussion, Professor Waluyo Hatmoko and Dr. Aris Tiadi Murwanto for making this session even more interesting. And of course, to our speakers, thank you very much for the excellent presentation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we end today's session, we are going to take a picture of us together. I will give you some time, our speakers, our moderator, and our discussion to get ready to photo session. Please highlight our speakers. And also, I would like to remind all the participants to fill the attendance form that we share in the chat box, and all the material that delivered by our excellent speakers are accessible in the link through that we share in the chat box. Thank you. Finally, the entire organizing team on today's event would like to sincerely thank our excellent speakers, our moderator, our discussion, and our honorable guests, and all who have actively participated in today's event. And also to Masyarakat Hidrologi Indonesia and Directorate of Water Resources Engineering Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, who fully supported today's event. Hopefully this session can contribute in sharing valuable insight, especially about utilization of water resources information system in integrated flood control. Once again, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe and stay healthy. Good afternoon and see you at the next event. Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Ari.
Terima kasih Pak Ari, Pak Eko, Pak Waluyo, Bapak Ibu semuanya. Thank you very much.
Makasih Pak Ari, makasih
Bapak semuanya.
makasih Pak
Thank
Eko.
you, terima kasih.
Pamit
Terima kasih
ya.
Pak Ari, Pak
Terima
Prof.
kasih.
Waluyo.
Mohon izin.
Mohon izin lihat.
Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki visi dan misi serta penerapan nilai-nilai luhur untuk menciptakan aparatur sipil negara yang berkualitas dan profesional, serta mampu bersaing sejalan dengan perubahan teknologi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman merupakan salah satu unit kerja di bawah naungan Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia, Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, yang terletak di Jalan Abdul Hamid Cicahem, Kota Bandung, Jawa Barat. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki tugas melaksanakan penyusunan kebijakan teknis dan pelaksanaan pengembangan serta sertifikasi kompetensi di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman menyelenggarakan pengembangan kompetensi yang berperan penting dalam mengembangkan sumber daya manusia yang memiliki tujuan untuk mencapai penguasaan keahlian dan kompetensi, serta meningkatkan wawasan dan pengetahuan seputar bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman. Secara umum, pendidikan dan pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman bertujuan untuk meningkatkan kecakapan dan keterampilan, terutama dalam bidang-bidang yang berhubungan dengan bidang pekerjaan sumber daya air dan permukiman, yang diperlukan dalam pencapaian tujuan instansi, serta memberikan individu kemampuan yang lebih tinggi dalam melaksanakan tugas maupun pekerjaannya, sehingga hasil yang dicapai akan maksimal. Selain itu, pelatihan yang diberikan diharapkan dapat meningkatkan profesionalisme dan mengorientasikan hasil kerja individu terhadap kemajuan instansi. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman secara inovatif menggunakan teknologi dan metode pembelajaran yang terus dikembangkan, agar proses pembelajaran peserta pelatihan dapat terlaksana secara aktif dan mampu mengembangkan potensi dirinya serta keterampilan yang diperlukan dalam dirinya melalui inovasi metode pengajaran yaitu klasikal, distance learning, serta blended learning. Saat ini, Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Bidang Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman membawahi satu bidang dan satu subbagian antara lain bidang manajemen sistem dan pelaksanaan pengembangan kompetensi dan subbagian tata usaha. Dalam menjalankan tugas dan fungsi Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman, juga dibantu oleh jafung-jafung terkait, baik sebagai koordinator, subkoordinator, maupun pelaksana. Pelatihan yang dilaksanakan tersebar di balai-balai yang berada dalam wilayah kerja Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman. Program pelatihan yang diselenggarakan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman pada tahun 2021 antara lain target pelatihan Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman tahun 2022 yang tersebar di balai-balai pengembangan kompetensi dan perguruan tinggi yang telah menjalin kerjasama pendidikan dan kedinasan. Dalam menyelenggarakan kerjasama pendidikan kedinasan di bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman, saat ini kami menjalin kerjasama pendidikan super spesialis dengan beberapa perguruan tinggi terkemuka di Indonesia. Di antaranya, serta produk yang dihasilkan oleh Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman adalah modul-modul yang sebelumnya telah disusun, direview, dan melalui tahap pemutakhiran bersama Widya Iswara yang ahli dalam bidangnya, yang kemudian selanjutnya akan dijadikan bahan ajar dalam setiap pelatihan bidang sumber daya air dan permukiman. Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi Sumber Daya Air dan Permukiman memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang telah memenuhi standar guna mendukung segala kegiatan aparatur sipil negara yang diharapkan dapat menunjang pelaksanaan tugas dan fungsi agar dapat menciptakan individu yang berkompeten, produktif, dan profesional.